Hello Gemini, this is your November forecast for 2018, and listen, we got Jupiter that has changed signs. That's great news, right? So that's going to affect your 6th house. So for a full year now, Jupiter is going to be expanding your area of your day-to-day work. Not necessarily career per se, but how you work. How do you like your routines? Do you want to change it up? Many of you might start feeling this itch for a little bit more freedom, a little bit more space. Maybe you want a larger office and get out of your cubicle. That is fully possible. Some of you might just feel that you want to get on a different regime as far as working out or your diets and so forth. This is the 6th house. This area also rules health. What are we putting into our bodies and whatnot? Now think about this too and keep that in the back of your mind, that Jupiter is very convenient because it's so generous, it's so abundant. We might want to eat more, and when it expands, it might just even come to expand our waistlines, especially here in this area of the 6th house. It's what you put into your body, right? So if you're conscious, you can really improve your health this year by really staying on that good, beautiful new regime. And if you do, this month is a great time to start. Why? Well, not just because Jupiter has entered into this area, but it's joining the Sun, Mercury, the new moon, and then of course having this Jupiter energy in here, it's a good kickstart for the oncoming year. So also let's talk about coworkers. It's the people that you mingle with at work, how you work with them. Is it positive? I feel now with Jupiter here, if you've had a little bit of difficulties in the past, not all of you, some of you, well, you will come to see that Jupiter is going to bring a lot of humor, a sense of enthusiasm, optimism, and so forth. Maybe teamwork can work much better now when you are so empowered with this. Scorpio also rules what happens deep within us, into the core. That's what Scorpio does, right? Down to the bottom, turning every single stone. So whatever you're putting your passion into, Jupiter will make sure that it is super clear and point specific. This month also here, and let's talk a little bit about October, where your focus was. It was an extremely, shall I say, social month for you. Most of you Geminis, of course, not just social, but I can see playful. All right, you had the Sun, Venus, Mars in this area. Jupiter was still there in October, at least in the beginning. So a lot of fun, you know, taking time off, doing the things that you were passionate about. Now as we move into November, of course, that's moving somewhat away, but you still have Venus and Mars in this area. 5th house also rules children, so more time with them, interacting, setting them up to go do things that they desire to do. It's playfulness. Now Venus will remain a Gemini in this area to that of November 7th. Then she will join the work crowd in the 6th house, okay? But Mars will remain there for the remainder of November, so you could still find time to take off and do those things that are fun to you. Mars, of course, likes to move about. It likes to be energized, so you might just find yourself out doing sporty things too, perhaps this month. But here, listen, I gotta tell you though that we only have like one day that's really challenged here in November. The rest is just beautiful, Gemini. We're starting off with you and speaking about love and romance and tightening, shoring things up here with Saturn. That's you standing your ground and your worth in your relationship or marriage, because Saturn is in your relationship area. It has been working for the last 2.5 years. We're nearly done with this journey, okay? There might have been some more responsibilities on your shoulders. Maybe you have been helping your partner to advance, right? Or it could be vice versa too, that your partner has been shouldering you somewhat. That's going to give here relatively soon, but not yet quite in November. Now, when we have Venus coming into such a beautiful aspect, there's love, okay? There's companionship, there's mutual understanding. It's working together, teamwork. For those of you who are single, you might just find somebody who embodies some of these energies that are, shall I say, well-balanced, grounded, somebody who's responsible. Saturn's always very responsible, right? But it's really also coupled up with the Sun, which is you, and Neptune, which is the higher octave of Venus. So I feel something romantic can take place here November 3rd, so, which is beautiful. Now on the 4th, we got Venus and Uranus in opposition, and Uranus always brings surprises. Sometimes it's really good, oh my God, sometimes it's like, what? So this is one of those. It's an opposition. For you, it's between the 5th and the 11th house. So some unexpected news could be either coming from your children, about your children, or the opposite end, which has to do with friends, okay, or acquaintances, groups and organizations. There's something here popping, but I feel you're not directly involved. It's more you just hearing it. On the 9th and to the 11th, the Sun, which is you, Gemini, it's your energy. It's at a pivotal point of wanting to transform something. It's here with Pluto. The aspect is good. It has to do with your monies, your savings, your investments, your royalties, commissions, and so forth. It's not necessarily your paycheck. That's the 2nd house. So something going on here where you're shoring up. I think there could be some good news on this day, on the 11th. No, on the 9th, I'm sorry. But on the 11th, Saturn, which is looking out for you, it's also you taking on your responsibility, and also your partner. Here comes good news. This is from the 11th house. So from some group, maybe you're talking to, affiliating with, negotiating perhaps. Saturn always likes to negotiate something. This would be good news. Unexpectedly, in the sense that you may not know or have known which day something will arrive, but I feel it's something you've worked for, something that Saturn has been really detailing, right? And I see a lot of effort have gone into it. So maybe you've been expecting and waiting to hear. This would be the day that that could surface. On the 13th, it's really a time to celebrate, as Venus and Jupiter are together. They're doing the dance, the happy dance, right? Venus is all about love and romance and our emotions, the things that we value, money too. And speaking of money, well, Jupiter also represents money, but big money, right? Think about the size of Jupiter. When these two come together on their annual date and they only meet up once a year, well, that is something to celebrate in and of itself. So good news on this day. Maybe you're receiving a job offer, maybe you're starting a new job, maybe you're being proposed to, maybe you're getting married. You know, it's an excellent wedding date to get married or engaged, because the signature of these two together will be long-lasting. Now on the 16th, so between the 13th and 16th, that Venus-Jupiter is still in the works. It's still influencing you. Now we have Venus bringing in Neptune in a golden trine, Neptune being the higher octave of Venus. So now we have all that soulmate energy. So that's why if I was talking about wedding, this is a match made in heaven type. Anytime between these dates or around these dates should be excellent for you. And for those of you who are single, Gemini, listen, don't sit at home. This could be the time where you can cross paths with that special one that can be very, very, shall I say, spiritually linked to your energies. It is also a very creative time for those of you who are artists or writers, and I know a lot of you are authors and writers, because inspiration is running really high. To the point, Gemini, that you might just feel that you're channeling all this energy, right? And when it comes in, it comes out, and you got the gift of gab here from birth. That is, you know, your thing. But when you have these additional energies, let me tell you though, it's just nothing less but perfect. So mark those days and try to find some time, a little bit set aside, so that you could be still and listen to your higher mind, which is so, so active at this time. On the 17th, there is some communication or talk, and I think it's all about powering through to your goals, those things that are important for you, especially in the creative fields. Maybe for some of you who might have your own businesses, this is a great time for you to negotiate new contracts and so forth. But just lay low on the 19th, because there could be trigger-happy people around you that could be a little intimidating, or they might be projecting their energies. Just don't get into it. Recognize it right off the bat that somebody's feeling very argumentative, so you just don't want to engage. It's hard to rationalize with somebody who's irrational. Somebody could be irrational on the 19th. Mars and Pluto, think about it though. Dynamite and it's Pluto being nuclear. These two things are just a little explosive in their nature. So thank God Mars is not retrograde, so it's sticking around Pluto for a long time. It will be gone in a few days. Venus though, Gemini, will be coming in just a couple of days later on the 21st to kiss and make up. If there has been a fallout, a disagreement, whatever there on the 19th, that kiss and make up is already there. And the beautiful power of Pluto, when he functions beautifully, is healing. It's like you can kiss and make up as if that fallout never happened. Go figure, right? There's a lot of passion here, but again, not necessarily just in the physical dimension, but the other higher dimensions is, of course, the inspiration that we get. And Venus and Pluto together, that passion and energy, if you're not channeling it into the physical, you can channel it into arts, which Venus again rules. So you can see there's a whole lot of Venus going on this month. You can really take it as far as you want to take it this month, because your energy is focused and you're listening. It's like that higher pipeline is open. On the 25th, you could get an agreement, you can get a contract, you can have a conversation, perhaps. Any of those that might really behoove you in a happy, unexpected way. Uranus is there. You never know what you get with Uranus, but as long as he's beautifully aligned, it's always good. So if you've been hoping for this, you might get this, but plus that. It always brings this additional extra. So 25th is a nice day too. Now on the 28th, a super important communication or project, or it could be you presenting something perhaps. Whatever it is you agree to on this day, it's got staying power. Saturn always looking out for the long run. Mercury only conjuncts Saturn once a year. So this is that time of year where something is from the stars set up for you that can really take you and send you in and off into a full year cycle. So let's talk a little bit about the new moon. The new moon is in that area of the 6th house, health that we spoke about, your day-to-day routines and so forth. It's also a time when we place our intentions. What should your intentions be this month? It's all about finding that sweet spot as far as your diets, agreeing with yourself, saying this is what I'm going to do now, I want to be healthy, I'm going to cut out all that junk food, all the drive-thrus and so forth, which sometimes can taste really good and it's so convenient when you're on the run and on the go. But if you now make this agreement with you, and this is where I think it is, Saturn isn't always just, you know, our father or our boss, right? It's who we are to ourselves, the mastery within, living up to it. So taking that kind of an agreement with yourself, I feel can really behoove you, because this is the month that Jupiter is setting off this area. And if you can do that, it will fall so much easier now when we get into the holidays and whatnot, where of course there's so much food going around, right? But listen, Mercury, your ruler, will be moving out of Scorpio and into your relationship house on November 5th, okay? So that just means there's going to be a whole lot more communication between you and your partner or partners. On November 7th, Venus will be moving into the passionate sign of Scorpio, okay? So November 7th and throughout the rest of the month, this is where Venus is going to be operating. It might want to go deeper. It wants to see where it's going to head between you and your relationship. And of course, the Sun will be moving into Sagittarius there on the 21st. So that's the movements out of the areas of what we've just spoken about, what you can then come to experience a little later. But I would like to say, since Jupiter is such a beautiful, the most happiest, should I say, enthusiastic planet of them all, are changing signs here now, I would suggest you listening to your moon or rising sign this month, because now you know in your solar chart, which we're talking about here, it's your 6th house. But in your moon reading, you will find it in a totally different area, which is equally as potent and important to you to see where it's going to be expanding the moon, which is your emotions. How are you going to emotionally react in this oncoming year? If you listen to your rising sign, it will show you where Jupiter is going to be giving you the energy, how you're going to be received out towards the world, how they're going to perceive you. So definitely this month is a must to listen to all 3 readings. And if you're lucky to know where Jupiter is in your natal chart, your birth chart, that's where the true position is to see how it's going to affect you. So that's what I had for you here in November, and I'll see you in December. Have a good one, Gemini. Bye now.